Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again to our weekly update. My name is Rainey. I'm the proud mayor of the great city of Peekskill. Today's date is July 20th, 2021, and I am joined by our awesome city manager, Mr. Andy Stewart. Andy, good afternoon, my friend.
How are you, Mayor? Good to see you as
Do-
usual.
yeah, doing good. Busy as always, but doing pretty well. Phones nonstop today. As you all know, we start this conversation off by giving you the actual COVID numbers, where we are with the numbers as far as active cases, how we're looking with our vaccinations, as far as percentages. And we try to share some other information that we think is worthy of sharing for those of you who tune in every morning, especially after we have common council meetings or committee of the whole meetings with different things that we discuss, items that we discuss for community participation or just for a vote. We do encourage people to join these meetings, ask questions. Any negative comments or foul language comments or anything of that nature will be removed. We do ask that you be respectful, not only to myself, but as well as the city manager and for the city of Peekskill residents who actually tune into these weekly conversations to really get information on what's going on. We do appreciate the feedback. We do appreciate the criticism, but the disrespect will not be tolerated. But other than that, thank you again for joining in this morning, or should I say this afternoon. And Andy, let's start over with these COVID numbers and let's see where we are.
Okay, so um, as you're aware, the county publishes the vaccination rate and it publishes the active case rate on their county website, and we post that information to our city Facebook page. So right now, the city's vaccination rate is 64.5% of people 12 and over having had their first shot. So that number is not bad. It's coming up substantially over the last few months. It was down in the 50s and 40s and so on. The other thing that's coming up a little bit is our actual active case rate is unfortunately coming up a little bit. We have 13 active cases as of the last time they published that data. It was in the single digits a week or two ago. And of course, if you go back several months, we were in the triple digits back in the over the winter and stuff. I personally am worried about that just because of the Delta variant and the continued risk of virus transmission from unvaccinated people, essentially. I see people out there wearing their masks. I'm thankful for that.
Mhm.
I know, especially for little kids, they've had to wear masks through the whole thing, and they're not eligible for vaccines yet. So we appreciate the efforts that families are making in that regard. I wanted to mention also, Mayor, we have information from the county, which we're going to put up on the Facebook, which has a lot of options for getting vaccinated. The county is running pop-up vaccination sites all the time. There was some in the Peekskill City School District in the last few weeks. They're happening in Mount Vernon and Yonkers, Ossining, and other nearby places. It's cheap, it's free, it's convenient, and it's effective. And we encourage people to take advantage of those resources, which we continue to distribute information about that whenever we receive it. There's also a county health line people can call if they have questions about vaccinations. And there's also you can schedule for homebound appointments for people who can't get out with the Office of Senior Programs. So all those services are available. All that people got to do is pick up the phone and kind of go get that information if they're interested.
Perfect, great. Thanks for that, Andy, so much as always. So I do want to share with the people for the city of Peekskill, just to be aware, the city has resumed our in-person council meetings. There was a person mentioned last night the importance of public input and public commenting on city government. So we do want to remind people that the council meetings have resumed to in-person. We're asking people if for any reason there's anything that you'd like for us to read on record, as far as events or things that your organization may be sharing in the community, then we'd be open to it. Any issues that you'd have that you want to be addressed, we ask you either email myself, members of the council, or the city manager so we can address them. But any issues that you want to share on record, we ask that you join us at one of the common council meetings. The summer schedule is online, but we will resume back to our every other Monday council meetings beginning in September. So we're looking forward to seeing your faces. There are still safety protocols in place. We're still asking people to social distance. We're still asking people to check their temperature when they walk in the building. And we're still asking people to wear a mask in the event that you cannot social distance inside of City Hall. So again, we're resuming. We're trying to get as close to normal as we possibly can once again. But we do need your support. We do need your cooperation in order for this to be a successful transition from pandemic to possibly normal again.
Mhm. Yep. And I hope at some point we'll be able to accommodate remote public comment as well. I think we need to work on the technology of that. The state law currently prohibits city council members from participating remotely like we could during the pandemic. But we should be able to crack the code on public comment as well, happening remotely at some point in the future.
Definitely much so. So I do want to share some good news. We've been talking about it for a couple of months, and we approved the resolution to accept it last night. Councilman Fernandez has worked extremely hard, and we never single out anybody on our team because we all put in teamwork to make things happen. But I do want to give credit to Councilman Fernandez for working extremely hard with our Assemblywoman Sandy Galiff to get the grant of $1 million, ladies and gentlemen, to go towards our Peekskill Parks and Recreation. So they're going to be doing some public conversations, public town halls, and different discussions with the Parks and Recreation Board as well as DPW members and more on exactly how this is going to shape the city of Peekskill's Parks and Recreation. So
yeah, this is all people should understand. This is capital facilities money from the state, and
yes.
really important funding for improvements to the football field and to the tennis courts, and also to put in some small mini kind of pitch for soccer and basketball and other games like that. It's really, these are exciting improvements. It's the people are really going to see the difference. It's exciting to see Torpy Field open up in the school's beautiful field. We're hopefully going to catch up a little bit with some improvements to the city's fields as well.
Yes, yes. So I'm looking forward to that, and especially after seeing the school district's field. The turf field is beautiful, and they finally opened it to the public. They're not allowing actual public league games and public football, soccer, or any type of activity of actual organized games on it just yet. But they've opened it to the public for walking the track, and it looks amazing. So please go out there and enjoy that.
Yes, beautiful new facility for sure. I had a couple other things I thought we should talk about just coming out of our city council meeting, Mayor. Just as notifications. For one, the council last night approved the road closure for the bid flea market, which I know is a lot of fun. It's a tradition in the city of Peekskill. That flea market that takes place on Bank Street, organized by the Business Improvement District, will be starting up again soon and go into the fall. And so we appreciate the work that the Business Improvement District does to organize events like that in the downtown. They're really great partners for the city, promoting local.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's something I'm really excited to look forward to. Seeing that that whole process get done.
All the vendors. The other item that came up last night was the Paramount lease agreement. The Paramount Theater is such an important, iconic downtown amenity. And we thank the folks, Abigail and Louie over there and others who have been struggling during the pandemic to keep that place alive. And they needed a formalized lease in order to be able to serve food and alcohol for special events and to kind of continue to promote their event calendar. They do have shows happening over at the Paramount. It's great to see. And we have an arrangement now with them for the city to get some revenues coming out of those events. And continue to support the building. We have improvements we need to do. We need to fix a leaky roof, fix some air conditioning systems. There's a bunch of things we need to do. So we've created an agreement and a plan to move forward with that with the city council's support.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, the Paramount Theater was also one of the projects approved in the DRI. So there's going to be some improvements, I believe, to the marquee and some other ideas that we've been working towards for the Paramount Theater to be the best it could possibly be. So we also encourage people. The Paramount is a powerful, important resource to our community, especially with helping the local businesses, bars, and restaurants by having shows, especially the bars and restaurants in the area that are actually open when the Paramount is hosting an event or a show. So we do encourage the people of Peekskill. If you hear about an event at the Paramount Theater that's not your, it's not your type of event, or you have no interest in it, even if you share the event on your social media, obviously those of you who are watching right now probably have social media. But if you hear about an event, you see a flyer, a digital flyer online, just share that information, because the more we share, the more people that can attract to come, and the more revenue that brings to our city restaurants and local businesses in the area. So please, 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 we want to keep our Paramount Theater. We're a unique city, which we're definitely fortunate to have this in our city. So any events and information that you hear coming out of that theater, you don't have to attend by purchasing tickets. You don't have to support by purchasing tickets, but if you can help spread the word for every event that we have there, that'll really, really help our downtown thrive and get back to where we need to be.
It's an exciting area over there now with the closure of Esther Street and creating that pedestrian plaza there, Mayor. I go there all the time. I just take my lunch over there, sit at a picnic table. There's so frequently music and other things. Coming up next week, actually, on the let's see, it's the 27th. The Conservation Advisory Council is going to show an environmental film on Esther
Yes.
Street. We're actually going to turn down the streetlights a little bit to make it easier to see the movie. They're going to have a speaker having to do with composting and soil, sort of the healthy soils, and a little bit of music as well. It's exciting to see that site right across from the Paramount Theater getting
Yeah.
used, and it's come a little cultural destination for the city of Peekskill.
Absolutely. I want to say thank you to the Bean Runner Cafe. Thank you to the Peekskill Coffee House, and congratulations to Peekskill Coffee House. They just hit an anniversary recently too. So again, to the restaurants and bars in the area that actually are open, this is very beneficial. And the more we help that area, the better we'll do as a city in our downtown. So Andy, thanks for bringing that up too, because I know that was postponed. So that's good to know that's still going.
I wanted to mention just a couple other things going on. A couple of meetings ago, we had a financial report from the city's auditor, and
Great.
I want folks to know we're very proud of the work that our finance office does, and with the city council and managing the city's budget. The city is once again getting a certificate of excellence for financial management from the Finance Officers Association of the state of New York, and generally the finance report was good news, Mayor. Some revenues are coming back. Parking isn't where we would hope it would be. It's still suffering from the pandemic, but we're getting a lot of real estate related revenues. Things like the mortgage tax is coming up, building permits, plumbing inspection permits, road opening permits, even planning, kind of site planning approval revenues. It really is an indication of a coming back. What we know well right now is that the real estate market is strong and people are fixing up buildings, which is great to see, of course. And so the city's overall financial position has improved, and the action the city council took last year during the pandemic to kind of do a U-turn on some of the government spending. We froze jobs. We obviously eliminated all the parks program because we couldn't do it because of COVID, and a number of other measures dramatically adjusted our expectations for parking and certain revenues. The city was able to come out of that crisis pretty strong, and overall over the last 5 years, our fund balance has improved dramatically, and the independent auditors were quite happy with the performance of the city. And certainly kudos to our team downstairs working with our comptroller, Matt Alexander, to keep on top of that. So we're actually going to do a press release related to that, and our August newsletter is going to focus on the finance department. So for folks who want to get in the weeds about the city budget and really understand how it works, you can go to the finance office's webpage. You can download a copy of our certified annual financial report, and I'm happy to try to answer any questions you might have.
Yeah, and Matt's been doing a fantastic job since he's been on board. So thank you to him and his department for doing what they do. That's very good news to hear. I also want to speak a little bit on, and I know that you have it on your list too, about the affordable housing process that the city of Peekskill is trying to intake. I do want to say I listened to the dialogue from the meeting that I was present a couple of weeks ago, as well as the dialogue to the meeting that I was at last night. I do really, really, really appreciate Councilman Dwight Douglas' comments on the issues that we face in the city of Peekskill as well as the county of Westchester with the housing crisis. There's so many people that are trying to fight for affordable housing, whether it's low income affordable housing or middle income market rate, whatever they consider to be affordable. But the point that Dwight Douglas made last night was, one of the council members said there's like 48% of people in Peekskill don't make more than $50,000 a year, I think was the number, or maybe less. And Dwight said, he said that, when we fight for affordable housing, if we bring in affordable housing and it doesn't, there's nothing that says that it has to be local residents, then we're not actually addressing the issue. what we're doing is we're fighting for affordable housing, bringing affordable housing in, and people from elsewhere are moving into these affordable housing units, which prevents us from actually addressing the issue that's at hand. So this dialogue has been really, really good. I encourage people to pay attention to it, stay involved, and also one of the things that was brought up before was in people's pay, minimum wage. Like, are people making enough to even live in affordable housing? Is addressing affordable housing going to be good without giving people enough money to survive? Or is there more of a fight than just screaming affordable housing? So there's a lot of great dialogue from the council last night. I encourage people to watch the meeting, and I look forward to seeing how the city of Peekskill customizes ours and how it unfolds.
We'll definitely be back with more on that. The council asked us to do some research on the local preference within affordable housing law to find out more about how that might work or might not work. And a number of other policy issues you got us working on as well, Mayor. You guys like to improve things. We're working on the smoking in the parks law, because the city council has asked for a prohibition on that. So we're drafting that. We're working on issues related to people making donations to parks and how to handle that. The issue of removing trees and creating a permit process so that it can't just happen kind of opportunistically. There's a lot going on in City Hall with regard to making improvements, and that our code book is basically a living document, and as issues come up. And actually last night there was just a couple of public hearings amending, to give people a chance to talk about our city code related to loitering, and also our special events permit process, which has been called a carnival permit for a long time, but there are very few actual carnivals in the city. It's kind of restrictive. So we've worked on a process that will make it easier for all these great things to take place, like jazz in Pugsley Park and film series on Esther and other kinds of things that happen over a succession or series of weekends. Our current law actually doesn't even enable us to effectively permit those, so we have to make exceptions. So these kinds of improvements to the city code are really kind of what it's about. As a legislative body, the city council is approaching those matters, and we're providing all the support we can.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of opinions around that. Is our survey almost, the survey deadline is almost done for the
So there's no actual deadline on it. You're talking about the survey, the opinion survey.
For the opt-in, opt-out survey.
You should opt out of having marijuana
dispensaries in Peekskill, yeah.
And that survey is open, and it's been running for a few months now. I think in September we'll close it off and have a formal council review of the results and make a determination if the city's planning.
That definitely gives people plenty of time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an important question for the city, whether or not to opt out of that legalized dispensary and lounge business. The city council, I think, has expressed itself publicly as being supportive in general of the legalized dispensaries and so on, but hasn't made any formal decision about that yet.
Okay.
We'll deal with
that.
Good. The
Good
deadline is the end of the year, essentially.
Right. So, all right. So that's good. That's really good to know. I do want to just say before you get in, I don't have anything else on my end, but I do want to say thank you to all of the people who've actually submitted their resumes or letters of interest to be a part of some of the boards in the city of Peekskill. As many of you may or may not know, there are about 16 to 18 boards in the city of Peekskill full of volunteers, of people who commit and dedicate their time to making sure that the city of Peekskill keeps moving forward. So for the people that we just reappointed last night, the new appointees, the volunteer firefighters, and so on and so much more, we just thank you sincerely for taking time out of your days.
Absolutely. You mentioned the firefighters there because the city recently voted on the LOSAP program, which is the pension program for volunteer firefighters, which the city invests $90,000 to $100,000 a year in that. And several dozen firefighters qualified for that program by their level of participation in the fire department. And so we thank them. We're putting out a press release listing to their names. You can look on Facebook and see who won that award for 2020. Mm-hmm. And exciting to see. And then in the next cycle of meetings, actually, we're going to put 3 new volunteer firefighters in the fire department. So get to meet those guys and celebrate their volunteer efforts.
Okay, good. So if you have anything on your list, please share, Andy. If not, let's go to some of these comments and questions. I actually could
So
see some today. So if you want me to just open up and address some, I will.
if you could review them, or I'll read them at the same time.
Yeah, I someone mentioned hosting a job fair. The city of Peekskill hosted a couple of job fairs. The youth borough, actually, I should say, has hosted a couple of job fairs. But if you're interested in collaborating with the youth borough or even the healthcare center, because they've also hosted some, and Westcott has also hosted some in the last year in the city of Peekskill. So we've had about 3 in the last year. But job fairs take time. It takes commitment from actual businesses because it's almost a waste of time to host a job fair unless the actual employers are looking for people to hire, which is why the youth borough organized theirs so successfully not too long ago. So I would encourage anyone who wants to support that initiative or help that initiative to, get involved. That always helps out, and people are always looking for jobs that are paying better or paying more. So it's definitely beneficial to the community to have those.
I should note that the city from time to time hires people as well. Right now we have 2 job postings, one for a position in the water department and one for an assistant planner in the planning department to work on the downtown revitalization initiative projects. So don't leave that out of your calculus as well.
Yeah,
If you have a
absolutely.
referral to make, we'd love to.
There you go. And thanks to the union. I want to give a special thanks to the union, to the Teamsters, and the city staff of Peekskill. We now have some interns once again in City Hall. We got about, was it like 19 total, 11 in the building?
Yeah, 11 in the building, 19 in local businesses and organizations.
Yeah, so that's freaking amazing. So thank you to
Of young people in City Hall.
yeah, thanks to the team who organized bringing this back. We finally got it done, and it gives the opportunities for the young adults to get a chance to see what it's like, and maybe, channel their life in a different direction. So great to know. Any other comments? Let me see. Job fair, homeowners do what they want to do with their trees. The survey is a joke. That's a harsh one. Survey is a joke. I think the surveys really help get community input. If you disagree with the majority, I wouldn't consider that a joke. I do think it helps the council get a little bit of an idea of what the community wants, or at least the community that participates in surveys what they want. But we do have manual surveys of people who want to come in City Hall and fill a piece of paper out. Don't let the survey online be the only determination. There are other surveys that are not counted on the actual digital survey that we're looking into as well. But I think these type of surveys, it's a great idea from our city manager to include community participation. I think the surveys are actually really, really good and gives us an idea of what the majority of the community feel is necessary and is not.
There's a mention about dirt bikes, which has been a continuing problem in our parks. And the complaint about that is absolutely dead on. Our police and the Parks Department have worked together to try to identify the people who are riding dirt bikes in the park and to close off access. But of course, it's very hard. And we really appreciate when people call the police if you see somebody breaking the law on a dirt bike in the park. We also have people just charging around the city on unregistered dirt bikes too. And so absolutely make a complaint to the police if you see something like that and help us track them down. I know in one case, a bike was confiscated, which hopefully sends a strong message.
Right, good, yeah. So I'm seeing the residents need to be able to have their heard. I guess it means their voices heard in the public forum. So as I said at the beginning of this meeting, our meetings have resumed to in-person meetings. So if the public wants to come to any of the common council meetings, you're more than welcome. We have 2 areas for comments for people who want to come to these meetings. The first area is the beginning of the actual common council meeting where people can give their comment on any of the resolutions before the council actually votes on them to give their last opinion, which can have in some cases has persuaded council's opinion to go one way versus the other. And after these resolutions are completed, we have an open area where we allow comments from the public to discuss anything the person would like to discuss. So we definitely encourage people. I know the resident speaking now is in Montrose, but if you want to come to Peekskill and give some insight on something, we welcome it. You're more than welcome to.
There's a question here about the American Recovery Act funding the city received will receive approximately 2.5 million overall, more like 2.4. and the spending plan for that, which is actually something that the comptroller and I are working on a presentation to the city council on. That money can be used for water and sewer projects, and also for backfilling lost revenues due to the pandemic. So some of that, a lot of that money will go into infrastructure and essentially making up for lost revenues. We're also looking at social spending on that side, having contracts with nonprofit organizations in order to boost vaccinations and provide extra services to people affected by the pandemic, because that kind of spending is also permitted. We need to make a plan with the city council for an approach to that. We started that discussion internally. But it's nice that the federal government has the recovery money available. I wish the city got a lot more, but we got what we got, and we're definitely going to use it effectively to address the needs of city residents.
Absolutely. Now, I'm reading the comment here. I'm a little confused now. That the comment says that we received that money already.
Part of it, it's paid in installments, so some money has been received. And
okay, I thought, okay, just making sure. I'm about to say, because if we receive 2.5 and the council doesn't know, but it's not. It's the installment process. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, no, it's an important. It's. I wouldn't say it's a drop in the bucket, but when a we could easily spend, I think, about $60 or $80 million just on water infrastructure. So, but it's really, it is important, and the community has an interest in this in particular because of the nature of the federal law that created that funding. And so we're working on a presentation for the council about the disposition of those funds.
Okay.
And we're also going to come forward with a capital planning process for the city that's a little more rigorous than in years past, so that you have a kind of an early look at the capital plan. We've got a number of things. We've got garbage trucks that run $250,000, which are sort of on their last legs. The fire department needs trucks. Ladder truck runs $1.25 million just by itself. So there's some big items that are going to need to be. We're working on a vehicle replacement plan right now, so that we can plan how to get the vehicles replaced when their repair cost is getting higher and higher and higher, and the risk of disruption. For example, with sanitation truck breaking down, garbage got to get picked up.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't have guys driving around on trucks that aren't safe. So our team down at the garage does a fabulous job of keeping these old trucks running. It's just extraordinary what they can do. But we need to invest in trucks, in the fleet. We also have buildings that needs to be fixed up. The library roof leaks. It's about a $400,000 thing. We're going to bid on it. The Paramount Theater roof leaks. We've had problems with heating and cooling systems. So there's a lot of infrastructure and facilities that the city needs to invest in.
There you go.
You see these water line breaks, and the guys are out there at night trying to shut the water down, and the valves underground don't work right because they come from the 1930s and 1940s. Like, this infrastructure is old, and it costs a lot of money to fix it.
Yeah, a whole lot. All right. So, well, I guess that's it from my end. I do want to say again to the people who tune in, to the people who share these weekly updates, thank you sincerely. Please continue to share them so people can at least know what's going on with our COVID numbers and vaccination numbers in the city of Peekskill. And I see one more I'll do. How are the board vacancies? I haven't heard anything regarding the Historic Preservation Advisory Commission. So I believe we mentioned that earlier before at the beginning of this meeting also, but again, you could always check the cityofpeekskill.com website to see if there are any vacancies, if there are any boards that you're interested in. And just because, and I just want to make this very clear to the people, just because there's no vacancies on the board doesn't mean you can't participate or actually support the board, or even give the board some ideas or suggestions that you may have, a recommendation. So being a part of the board gives you access to vote on certain situations and dialogue and conversations, but you can still support a board or be a part of a board without being on the board as a resolution. So if anyone is interested, check out the City of Peekskill website, look at all of the boards and commissions we have, and see which ones you'd like to be a part of or even support, and you're more than welcome. That being said, Andy, we're good.
All right, take care, Mayor. Thanks.
All right, great to see you. Thank you all for tuning in. See you again, same time, same place next week.
All right, take care now. Bye-bye.
All right, you too.